Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and we're doing the first video in a series of videos where we compare the safety of the cars in BeamNG.drive. We're going to use both stock and modded cars in these videos, but for this video in particular, we're going to focus on just trucks, vans, and SUVs. We will have a separate video for cars on another day, but this one's going to be trucks, vans, and SUVs in a full frontal head-on collision. And then we'll also do videos for a side collision, and I know the IIHS has a ton of different crash tests they do. You know, they got like the small impact, like the small overlap, I think it's called, where they do something where they crash it like, you know, just scratching the side basically. They got like a medium where it's like more in the center. There's a ton of different crash types, and we could do more if you guys want to see it, but I want to do at least a full frontal and a side collision crash. So what we're going to do is we're going to do every crash as close as we can to the same speed every time, and we're going to use a stockest version of the car there is. Some cars don't quite have a stock version. Some of them are like, this is super off-road or super duper off-road. You know, they don't have a stock version, but we'll get the closest we can to the stock version. So if like this truck, for example, we would just use the Sport Edition, and that one has enough power to get it up to 70 miles per hour to go to the crash, and it should work great. We're not going to use the interior camera because some cars have problems with the interior camera gets detached improperly. So we're going to use exterior cameras only, and we're just going to do a crash just like this at 70 miles per hour. And then we're going to say, okay, how does it look? You know, we'll try to look in the inside if the camera still works. You know, maybe compare it to how it looked beforehand. You know, just look at it and see what it looks like. Now, the one thing I know, this is a test where it's like it's a lot of opinions because there's no test dummies or anything. So it's a lot of just looking at it and saying, this one might be better or this one might be worse. It's hard to know. So I want you guys to tell me which ones you thought held up the best and which ones you thought held up bad. Because like I said, I could tell you what I think, and I will as well. But really, it's a lot of opinion. And I know you guys will disagree with me on some things, or I might notice a lot of things because, you know, it's hard to notice every little detail. So that's why I want you guys to tell me. If you see anything that you might know that, like, looks really bad or, you know, some that look good, just tell me what you guys think of certain cars crashing, you know, which ones are good looking, which ones are bad, anything you want. You know, just get some discussion going because it is something that needs to be discussed because it is a lot of opinions. So anyways, we're gonna not use this truck first. We're gonna go through the list of cars I got. These are mostly trucks, vans, and SUVs. There's a couple of stock cars in here I gotta avoid, but we're just gonna, like I said, use the stockest version there is. So this would be the version of the Silverado. This is stockest. The Sport, you know, just has a better engine. That's it. Now the things you should consider when you watch the crash is, first off, here's what we'll do before every crash. We'll use a brake all hinges so you can kind of see where does the steering wheel line up with the seat, so you can see if the steering wheel gets pushed back into, you know, your ribs and breaks your ribs, that'd be bad, you know. Then you should also kind of look at the shape of the cabin where the driver would be. You know, if that's deformed, you know, that would mean they were getting hit. And then you also want to look at how hard the car recoils, because if it bounces off something and bounces back like really hard, that's a lot of G's the driver's experiencing. So you want to consider, you know, which would you want to be in, you know, to figure out which crash, you know, which is the safest, you know. Like I said, it's a lot of opinions and stuff, but those are some of the things you should probably look at. So anyways, you saw where the steering wheel was located on this one. So this will be the first vehicle. This is a Chevy Silverado, just a normal edition of it, with a Sport Edition, so it's a little bit faster. And we're going to bring it up to 70 miles per hour and just do a head-on collision onto this glass wall right here, you know. And I'm happy with anything between 68 and 72 for consistency's sake. Anything in that area should be solid, like in terms of how accurate it is. You know, I'm trying to make it as scientific as possible, but being exact speed every time isn't exactly easy. So there we go, perfect 70 miles per hour on that one. Speed only went down after it crashed. So we're going to keep it in 100 times slow-mo just for a little bit longer. Then when it starts to kind of bounce backwards, we'll go and hit 8 times slower. Alright, that looks like it's good. It's like everything's crumpled, it's going to crumple. So we can just hit 8 times slower so you kind of see how far it bounces back. And because like I said, that's important, because, you know, if your car just bounces around, you're in there bouncing around, smashing your head through the windshield or something, you know? So that's about how far it bounces back. Go and put the parking brake on. So there we go. That's what it looks like from the outside. You could look at it. You can, like I said, we're more worried about the passenger safety than how badly the front gets crumpled up, because in real life, a crumple zone saves lives, you know? So we're not going to look at that too much. We'll take a peek at them every now and then. Like, hey, look at that. There's the thing that looks like a Chevy. But aside from that, we really won't look at it too much. So what we're going to do is let's see if the interior camera works good. Like I said, sometimes they break. And it doesn't mean the car is necessarily unsafe. Sometimes they just break for some reason. So you can see where the steering wheel is. You see how it's actually going through the dash. That's interesting. And you can look around. You see how everything else is. you know, take a look at like I said, all the things kind of look at. You see, really the compartment where the driver is seems like it held up pretty well of its shape. We can go ahead and look at how the door is deformed just a bit. Then we can go ahead and pop the door off, and you can kind of see, you know, how is the steering wheel lined up still. You know, it looks like it might have got pushed towards the driver just a smidge, but you know, it looks like you'd be okay. There's still enough distance for a fairly beefy man to be in there and not get their ribs broken. And now we're just gonna go on to the next vehicle. So the next one is gonna be the Datsun 720, and this one I know for a fact has a problem with the camera, where the camera will fall off the truck even though it's like there's nothing wrong with it. Now this is a king cab, so it actually has extended cab. So like, yeah, as you can see, you know, it's not just, you know what I mean, it's an extended cab. You know what that means. It means the cab is bigger. That's all it really needs to know. So we're gonna do the same exact thing. Now this is an older car, so if this was realistic, it would crush up more. How realistic is this though? Who knows? It's a mod, you know. It could be made to crash up easier, or it could not be. So we're going a nice steady 70, good. Alright, perfect 70, and the collision is here. Alright, that collision is done, so we'll go 8 times slower. Kind of see how far it bounces. So you see that one didn't seem to bounce as far as the other one, so that means there was more of a crumple zone to it. Going to do full speed. Now you see the camera on this one is way out of line though. So we can only look at this one from the exterior. So you can kind of see, you do notice like right here, you see how this one has its bent. You see it's like, it's not how it should be. Might be because it's extended, so it's just harder to be structurally sound when it's bigger, but you can see that. You can see, it looks like the steering wheel, there's still enough room to not have crushed the driver, but we didn't actually look beforehand to see where the steering wheel is located, so just take note of where it is, how the door is kind of pushed up. You see how the door is folded, so that means that is definitely smaller in the inside. Go ahead and break all hinges so we can kind of get a look on the inside. And it's a little hard to see anything because of the lighting, unfortunately, but that doesn't look like the best. Whoa, what is the door doing? Whoa, door. What is it doing? It's erecting a skyscraper right now. The truck has become a skyscraper. I don't know what it's doing. Anyways, though, you saw where the steering wheel was. So let's go ahead and do the same thing real quick where we break all hinges so you can see where the steering wheel is normally. You see it was definitely moved compared to the Silverado where it's just a bit. This one seems like it moved a bit more. But it doesn't look like you die. You look like you'd be okay. So next up is the Grand Cherokee. Now this one is just off-road or super duper off-road. So it's really hard to say, you know, how it is compared to a stock vehicle. Because if you look at the inside, it's right here. This is as low as it gets. As you see, it's already kind of on beefy, big old wheels. And the inside has a roll cage, which makes the whole thing very, very stiff compared to a normal vehicle. So it's not exactly a fair comparison, but it fits under the trucks, vans, and SUV labels more than any other kind of, like the cars category. So that's why I'm driving it here instead. There's also going to be like a race cars category where it's things that do have roll cages. I might also include into that. Just because it does have a roll cage on it. But for now, we're just going to do it on the trucks category, and it could go on the race cars one as well. Why not, you know? Because it's a truck, van, SUV. It's one of those three. So this one's a little more touchy on the throttle. You have to be a little careful not to go too fast, but we're doing good for speed. It might be a little fast, but that's okay. About 70, actually. That's good. It's good. 70, 71. That's good. 70. Alright, so there you go. You see the whole thing kind of deformed a bit. You just saw the whole structure move a bit. You saw that, hopefully. And go ahead and do 8 times slower. And wow, the inside looks wrecked from out here. We'll have to look at that closer. And then full speed. And you notice, look how far back it's rolling. You know, the G's you experience on there would probably be pretty high from rolling that far back. So here, look at the interior. It is really busted up in here. You know, that's, the seats aren't really aligned right. The whole, you know, there's a lot going on here. And then you gotta, of course, look at the side to kind of see how the structure itself looks. It doesn't look too bad except for the engine trying to become your passenger. The steering wheel position Right now it's just above the edge of the seat. We'll have to look at what it was stock because I forgot to again. Maybe we'll just do it afterwards from now on because I keep forgetting, but that's with the roll cage, which is kind of surprising. You'd think that would stiffen it up a bit more so it would hold up more, but maybe not. So if you break all hinges, you can see real closely. Look at where your feet would be. That's a bit of a mess right there of metal. And then again, look at the steering wheel. Look at the other side where your feet would be as well. So you're gonna get your feet hit, that's for sure. Back seat though, back seat looks fine. Back seat's no problem. All right, so let's go ahead and reset this and then do break all hinges real quick so you can see where the steering wheel is normally. It's actually about the same spot. Maybe the angle was slightly different, but pretty close to the same spot. All right, next up is the... Ooh, this one's going to be bad. The Kiwi. And by bad, I just mean, well, you'll see what happens to it. This is a really tiny vehicle. But it is kind of more of a truck to me than a car just because of its design. It looks more like a truck. I mean... it looks like a truck with the bed removed and engine put in place or something. But anyway, this thing's small, so expect some pain. Alright, going 70, and look how light I am on the throttle to get up to 70. I'm being really light on it to get it to 70, now we gotta hold it about there. Alright. Now this one, like I said, is so small, I bet it's gonna just crumple. Ooh, that's not good. That is not good at all. That is bad. Okay, go 8 times speed. You see the whole thing crumpled. It doesn't even bounce back that far because it just crumpled. And look at the inside. Well, let's see if we can even really see if look at the inside. This is probably going to be one of the worst. You see, your feet have become one with the suspension setup, it looks like, really. And then the engine is smashing into your back as well. You see the engine's kind of going through the back end a little bit. You can't see it from the inside, but that is bad news. And the steering wheel, you can't even see it really. It's like, is that the thing that's sticking out of the car? Yeah, there's a steering wheel. Still drives though, funnily enough, because the back end where all the engine and stuff is good. But that one got hit hard for sure. Alright, we're going next up. The Ford Ranger. This one again is kind of a more reinforced looking vehicle. It's it looks like a real off-roader, and it does have a cage on the inside. So again, it could kind of go into the race car category because roll cages do reinforce it. So like what I'm gonna do with the race car ones is just do like 100 and something mile per hour crashes, just because race cars get that speed. 70 miles per hour. That's the speed stock vehicles will run at usually. It's like if you going on a freeway, you could reach 70 no problem. Just kind of cruising along on the freeway, not a problem. This is just saying something happened and you hit something at 70 miles per hour. Alright. That one's coming in a little crooked. Let me go and do that again. I don't like that one. I mean, it's okay if they're a little crooked, but that one's a little bit more crooked than it should. I like. So it's like it could be better. Try to make it not biased, and to make it like it not biased, just straighten it out, try it again. Nothing wrong with trying it again. There we go, that one's much better. Going a little fast, going to let up on the throttle. 70, 71, real close. And you can see it's crouching down there right there. You see it's pushed down. So it's going up in the air in the back. Let's go ahead and do 8 times slow-mo. And you can see that one, the way it crashed, it crumpled a lot because it didn't recoil that hard. Look at how little it bounced backwards, It's just one of those things you can know. The force has to go somewhere. Either the car's going to crumple or the recoil is going to push you back. Alright, so the steering wheel's on the right side on this one, so you could look at the steering wheel. It's kind of at your knees. Your knees would be busted in by that steering wheel, probably. And, well, it looks like your feet might not have done so well either. It's hard to tell with the doors on, but first let's take a look at the doors before we make them fall off, so you could look at the doors. They were definitely pushed open, and it looks like, well, the cabin itself doesn't seem like it got crushed too bad, except right about here is a little more straight down than it was before, I believe, but it kept its shape mostly. So let's go and take the doors off with the break all hinges, and we can kind of look at where the wheel well, the driver's feet would be. And well, it's kind of dark there, so you can't see too much, unfortunately. You could get a good look at the car. Still a drive, so that's interesting. It's loud because all the pieces falling off. But you could look at that steering wheel, and then we'll compare it again to the stock position. So break all hinges, and then I'll see. I'm used to looking on the other side for the steering wheel. Yeah, you can see it. I'm pretty sure it was lower. That is just a low steering wheel by default, but I'm pretty sure it was even lower, which is why I said it hits your knees in. But again, you can see how this one has a cage on it, so you would think it would be more reinforced. And actually, what it seemed to happen is this part of the frame bent into where the cage is. It kind of crumpled to the cage, so the cage actually did its job, which is interesting. At least that's what it looked like. Like I said, it's all visual, you know. If you disagree with something, I'm not saying what I'm saying is right. I'm just saying what I think right as it happens. All right, so next is the Drowsy Sam pickup. Now this is again a mini car, kind of like the Kiwi, but I think it's just slightly bigger. But the engine's in the front this time, so there's less crumple zone, which could be better for this car actually, because well, the Kiwi crumpled too hard. Really, it crumpled up to nothing. All right, so we're going 71, 70. There we go, 70. All right, we're nice holding it at 70, nice and steady speed. A little bit fast, just let up on the throttle all the way, and we'll hit at 70. All right, so here we go. Perfect, 70 miles per hour. Actually looked like it did okay. All right, let's go ahead and collision's over, so we'll do 8 times speed to kind of see how far it bounces. And look at that, it bounces up. You see how high it's going it's getting airborne. All right, that looked all right. And it had a decent amount of bouncing on it. Let's see. Ooh, goodness. Okay, so the bed of the truck comes in and stabs you through the back, basically. That's not good. At least I think that's what that is. And, well, actually, the front of it looks okay. Somehow the back end just kind of got pushed forward. You see, and it's stabbing you now in the chest. You know, steering wheel doesn't look like it hurt you at all. You know, I can't see the feet too well. Let's go ahead and look at how the doors held up, and then we'll break them off again. So, doors, looks like it held itself up, you know. It's a little bent up, but the cabin seems pretty much in line with how it should. Yeah, it is. You can see it's actually bent right here a little bit, but it's mostly alright. As for your feet, it's hard to say. Can't see really, you know. Can't move it either, unfortunately. Doesn't look like they'd be too crushed, but they might be injured. Alright, so then we go to the next truck, SUV. You know, like I said, they're all the same category. So that one was the pickup. Next is F250 Superduty. We're going to use the, let's see, we'll use the V10 all-wheel drive to make sure it has enough time to get this big old boy up to speed. And, go ahead and crash it. Hopefully it can get up to speed. No problem. Alright, nice and steady. Hold it at about 70. Speed looks good. Alright, 100 times slower for the crash. Look a little closer at it. Lots of breaking apart in the front. You see that hood is flying into the air. Go 8 times slow-mo now. Doesn't seem to bounce backwards too hard. Seems to mostly keep its spots. So the crumple zones, it should crumpled up a lot. And well, that looks pretty crumpled up right there. Inside-wise, doesn't look like it's too bad. Looks like steering wheel's mostly in the same spot. Doesn't look like your feet would have got crushed much, if any. The whole actual cabin where you would be, well, except for the doors kind of holding on to the frame, weirdly enough. It doesn't seem right that the glass would be like that, but whatever. I think that's just the design of the car. It looks like it would have held the frame shape. If you look at the door, it seems, well, maybe a little crooked on this side. This side looks okay, though. That's alright. Go ahead and pop the doors off so you can see in the inside. And feet look like they'd be maybe a little bit of engine on your feet. That's never a good sign for your toes. If you liked your toes, they might be squished off. Who knows? Alright, next up is the, not Grand Marshal, not Corvette, those are just stock cars that are here, Hell Jeep. This one's going to be interesting. So we're going to just use the default. This is by no means a stock vehicle. Well, I mean, in terms of how it'll crash, it might be equivalent to a stock vehicle, but the suspension setup's by no means stock, that's for sure. So let's see, it can get up to speed. Can it? Yep, no problem, that's good. So let's see how this thing holds up. Going a little fast so we can slow it down. Just let up on the throttle, let it coast. I know I went slow-mo early, it's just so I can make sure I could get it in line with the normal speed it should be. I think you do a little less slow. No, I don't know why I did that much. Okay. So we're going 70 still. Nice solid 70. 100 times slower. This thing's a little touchy on the throttle, but I'm getting it at 70. Like I said, anywhere between 68 and 72, I'm happy. That's right on 70, 69, so that's good. So this thing, you know, well, yeah. Look at that. That's not good. The way that thing kind of, here's the driver in the middle, and it's going to make you into a driver taco. The car is the bun. I mean, the car is the tortilla. You are the fillings. Once it that's one of those things you can't see it anymore because it kind of bounced up and fixed itself. But you can see there was a little bit of a taco going on. And well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Cameras are kind of screwy, but steering wheel looks like it might have hit your knees off a bit. Feet. Well, it's hard to look in there, but your feet would have probably, your ankles might be broken off or something, maybe. Or broken or something. That didn't look too well. And like I said, your back's probably all smashed up. That didn't look good, dude. I'll just say that now. That didn't look good, but what do you expect? This is, you know, in real early, you know, it's an old style car that's not really made to hold up. But if you look at the steering wheel normally, look at how much clearance there is between your knees and the chairs. That steering wheel is just gonna smash your kneecaps in. It's not good, dude. Alright, next up is the D series, which is a stock truck from BeamNG. So this is kind of the baseline, you know? It's the one that you know is made is right, but there's nothing saying these ones aren't made right. Most of them are. So this one's going to be 70 miles per hour and same thing. Okay, nice steady 70 miles per hour. 100 times slower so you can see what happens. Okay, nothing too bad. Looks like pretty reasonable hold up. Alright, go ahead and speed it up a bit. Not much rebound on this one. A lot of crumpling going on. Alright, you can see. Yeah, look at the engine bay. Look how much shorter it is now because it's all crumpled up. That's good to see usually in a car for real. Alright, so you can see the frame got a little bent upwards, but right about here you can kind of see how it doesn't match up. But it looks alright. Steering wheel pushed in a bit, but I don't think it's going to hurt you much unless you're a really, really obese and your belly's touching the wheel from the very start. Looks like you still have enough clearance to be okay, but it is closer than it would be before. So you might have hit your chest on it. That would hurt. Can't see the feet too well, so we might have to pop the doors off to see if we can get some light in here. Go ahead and do that. Kind of look at the feet area. Looks like it's hard to see, but it doesn't look like there's anything kind of intruding in there like the engine sometimes does. So it looks okay. You know, as you notice, it is actually bent on the bottom as well. Now that the doors are off, you see this is not straight. It is kind of a U shape. That's alright. I think that'd be, I mean, it doesn't seem like it gave, it just kind of bent, so that's not too bad. Alright, next up is the, let's see, the Hilux, which I think is really, it's kind of based on this car, but it doesn't matter. We're going to use the Sport Edition because that one's, you know, like I said, I just want the one that's the stock vehicle mostly, but maybe a little bit faster. Uh-oh. Game's freezing? Oh, we're good. I don't know. I think this one might share its J-beams with the normal truck. I'm not positive. But I know that a lot of the... I'm trying, like I said, I tried to pick out ones that have that are unique, you know? I didn't try to pick out variations of the same truck or anything. You know, this is a totally different vehicle. Can it get up to speed, though? Uh-oh. It's not going to get up to speed. Well, I mean, it just barely did, so I guess it'll be okay. You know what? If I start at the top of this hill, it'll be okay, I think. But it just barely got up to speed. You see that? Starting at the top of the hill, though, we should just... Oh, wait, now it's going up to speed. It must have just been the way it shifted messed me up. Alright, nice 71 miles per hour. Let up on the throttle a bit. Alright, going nice strong 70. Alright, here we go. Zoom it in a bit. Okay, looks okay. Well, I mean, in terms of driver safety, I don't know if it looks okay. Look at that door. Right now, what it's doing, before I undo it, it might bounce out, but look at it. It's smushing the driver because it bent inward instead of outward like most do. So that was unexpected. Alright, so let's go and look at the inside. Yeah, that's not going to be pretty. The other door did the same thing but fell off. This one, it's still here. The door is just smashing into you. That's not good. And passenger seat, you can see the steering wheel is also smashing into you. And how's the wheel? Your feet look like they wouldn't be smashed, but on the driver, dude, he is not doing well. That steering wheel looks like it's smashing into him, as well as the door. You can see the actual shape of the cab held up okay though. Back seats are good. Just the driver got the rough deal of that, dude. Break all hinges off maybe and see. Yeah. His feet, it did get pushed in, but I don't know if they'd be injured necessarily. But look at the steering wheel's position compared to when it is stock. You see right here? Compare it to when it's stock. And, oh, the door didn't come off. Oh well. We can kind of peek in like this. Compared to stock, you see it's much farther away. So, that's not, the Hilux did not hold up too well. Alright, next up is the Pigeon a truck? The Pigeon is a truck technically, right? Yeah, it is, see? I don't think we'll be able to get this thing up to 70 miles per hour, however. Is there different versions of the engine with a slightly faster engine? Let me check real quick. Nope. So I don't know if I'll be able to get this up to 70 miles per hour. I don't see it happening. We'll just go as fast as it can go. That is what we'll do. Because I just don't see it happening. Alright, so it's going to crash at about 50, so it's not a fair comparison, but that's okay, we can still crash it. Wow. Even at 50, it kind of... Wow. Okay, if it did that at 50, I want to see what it does at 70. I don't know how I'm going to get it up to 70, but I want to try. I'm going to try, man. We'll come over the hill. Oh, wait, no. Coming over the hill is not going to work. I know what we could do to get this thing up to 70, or at least close to 70. We'll just crash it somewhere else. Since it's a head-on collision, it doesn't matter where you crash, really. You just got to make sure it's head-on. So we're just going to drive the whole length of this grid map and try to get this thing to go up to 70. First, we just kind of got to get on this side, along the wall over here, really. Well, we're okay right now. We could just kind of start churning, and we'll go to the far wall you see over there. See if we can get it up to something like 70, you know? I mean, it's still accelerating, it's just at a really slow rate of speed. I could just go into the engine and tweak its speed if I really wanted to get up to 70 if it won't get up there. Which is another option I'll look into if it can't reach it, and it looks like it's not going to quite reach 70. I mean, it's a three-wheeled little truck. I don't know what to expect. Let me watch this one at the highest speed we could accomplish, and then I'll look into just doing a quick engine mod to see if we can get it to go up to 70 miles per hour. So let's watch this, and then I'll look at it just like I normally would, just in case I can't get it up to 70 even with the engine mod, like it's just not stable or something, you know. Ooh, that thing tacos you just like the hell Jeep. Okay, so everything's crunched up. It's gonna bounce back a bit. I'm gonna let it bounce back. Look at it jiggling, man. It's made of jello. Alright, full speed. The tailgate's like your heartbeat. It's like Alright, the gauges are just smashed into your face. Well, no, the camera's smashed upwards. Let me look at it from this side because it's like kind of deceptive. The camera smashed forward. The steering wheel is not where it should be. It's probably smashing in your knees at some point. Your back's been smashed up by the tailgate hitting you into your back. That's not comfortable at all. That's going to be a brutal hit, that's for sure, and that's only at 56. Let me do a quick engine tweak to this thing, give a bit more power, maybe another gear or something, and so I can get it up to go to the speed we want. Alrighty then, we have a slightly modified Pigeon. It's just a bit more power. It's nothing crazy. Honestly, it's nothing crazy. It just gives it enough power to get it up to 70. I just did a quick tweaking to the numbers. It does, like the RPM range, the RPM, the way it gives power doesn't quite make sense. That's okay, as long as we're getting it up to 70 miles per hour, which is right what we're going to do. It's going to just reach 70 right as it crashes, which is perfect. 69 is close enough. I'm happy with that, you know? It just touched 70, just there. You see it just touching 70 right before the collision. And that extra 15 miles per hour or so didn't seem to make as big of a difference as I was expecting. It looks like your feet are all mangled up. But it looks like more of the collision went to the back end, actually. It's kind of interesting. Well, I don't know. Actually, it's looking like jello right now. Like, the whole cabin's getting squished, that's for sure. Let me just 8 times speed this thing so figure out what it's going to actually do. Alright, so the doors have blown off. Basically, the doors have blown off, so you can see how much smaller the cabin is now with the door shape. You see the door is much wider than the cabin is. Let's go and hit real time on this. And look in the inside. Steering wheel is again same spot, pretty similar. I think it's just a little more different on the feet. Like something came up and smushed your feet up. I don't know what that is. Was that like the front bumper, or is that part of the engine mounts? I'm not sure what that is. Something came up though and just tore your legs apart. That's not going to be pretty. And that hit both people. Steering wheel is again there, but I think the black metal bar that's right there is more of a concern. And again, the back of the tailgate is coming to punch you in the back. That's unpleasant. Very, very unpleasant. So yeah, small cars don't do too well, do they? Alright, next up is, let's see, we just did the Pigeon. So we did the Shark. This is a cool little truck. Here we are. What's the camera doing? The camera lines up funny on this thing. Alright, let's actually get oops. That's okay, I guess. There's a normal, yeah, there's a normal suspension. We'll put the normal suspension on it. And I don't think there's anything else that really can be changed. That is just, it comes the way it is. So this is the Shark. It looks like a much older truck than the normal truck. It looks more like maybe a 80s or 70s style truck even. I mean, it gets design elements from multiple trucks, but it kind of reminds me of the Datsun's 80s design. But some parts don't look a little older to me, so I don't know. Datsun is, again, late 80s, though, so it's hard to know. Every time I want to reset the camera, it does that, though, so I can't be resetting the camera like I normally would. Alright, lining this up. We gotta let up on the speed a bit. We can actually brake it just a bit to... Alright, there we go. Let it coast. And that's not gonna hit head on. That's gonna be a different kind of collision. We don't want that. That is a different video. If we want a collision like that, that is a different video. This one does not have an interior camera at all, unfortunately. This is like one of the first like full vehicle mods I know of, honestly. It's a real old mod. So that's why it's lacking some of those features. And also the way the engine takes off is funky. It's just it doesn't feel normal, that's all. Alright. Slow it down a bit. There we go. 70. 100 times slower. It was going right about 70, 69 maybe. That's close enough. Alright, well. There's no driver in this one. But you can still imagine if there was a seat there, what would have happened? Not much. It mostly held up its shape. There's no steering wheel to smash you though, so yeah, there's not much to say about this one just because it's more of a basic mod. It doesn't have a lot of the details, but it does fit under the truck category, so I figured might as well do it. Next up is the Chevy Silverado. Again? Yeah, again. There's two Chevy Silverados, so I have both. I don't know why. I don't know. Are they different years? I can't remember now. Let's see. We'll see if they're different years in a second, right? Uh-oh. Does that one not work right? Try it, Right, I'll look at fixing that later. We'll come back to it maybe or maybe not. Next up is the H Series, which is a nice simple vehicle. We won't buy... Well... I'm thinking, is there a difference really between this one and the other? Oh goodness, there's no textures there. That's unusual. Let me restart the game, see if it comes some textures, and maybe it's a Silverado because I loaded that up. I don't know. Let me just restart the game real quick and see if that fixes anything. Okay, so I went ahead and restarted the game, and we got the textures back in the H-Van. And now I still got to decide if I'm going to do a different crash for the one with the box in it or not, because they are... I mean, I think they're identical on the front, but I want to make sure they are before I decide that. But I think the only difference is the rear, and if it's only the rear, it shouldn't really matter too much on how it crashes. But if you guys do want to see the other one, even if I decide not to, just say, hey, you should do it anyways, and I will. You know, there's no reason I can't. Yeah, front-wise, it's identical. But like I said, if you guys do want to see it, just, you know, I could always just make a quick addition. And if there's any other things that you would be considered as classified as a, you know, truck or whatever, that's not a modification of the stock vehicle, like it's a fully unique vehicle, you know, I don't want, like, I know I have other mods, like there's one that has like 10 different versions of the D series. I don't want to do that one, but if you have ones that are unique vehicles, yeah, I'll do them. I just picked the ones I saw and know of. But if there's ones that you guys know of that would fit under the classification of a different vehicle and not a modification of a stock vehicle or another vehicle you already saw, feel free to request it, and I can always make a second part to these, you know? It's a nice thing. I can always make a part 2. Alright, so we're going a nice 70 miles per hour, a little crooked. Try to straighten it out a bit. There we are. Looking good, looking good. Alright, and we go slow-mo. And crash. Go do 8 times speed. Wow, that thing's getting serious air. Is it gonna do a? It's gonna do like a stand on its front almost. That thing got some serious air on it. Alright, so how's the inside look? Kind of look from here. You can see it's bent right here. You can see it's all bent up. The door doesn't line up anymore. It's definitely been compressed. You know, it didn't have a lot of crumple zone here, so the engine probably got pushed in maybe even a little. Let's see. Actually, the inside doesn't look that bad. I mean, you can see the side is definitely beat up. You're inside of your seat in this camera angle, unfortunately, but you see, it doesn't look that bad. Let's see. Oh, what is that camera doing? Kind of looking at the feet, but it's not really. So let's go ahead and take the doors off and see if it looks okay. Okay, and oh, that's not good. Look at the pedals. Those pedals are almost going into the seat, aren't they? It's hard to see it, but you can see one of the pedals. That might just be a parking brake, actually, but I'm assuming the other ones are right there, right up your seat. So your feet are probably getting crushed a bit, because there's no way you're going to be able to hit that pedal with your foot if that's a clutch. You know, I can't tell if it's supposed to be a clutch or a parking brake, honestly. It probably is a parking brake based on the type of car it is, but either way, those are usually... Let's see, if I remember correctly, in a real car, those are lined up even farther back than the pedals, so the pedals are probably really busting your feet up. So that's not good. And the last vehicle we are going to do is the Minivan, and it is just that, a miniature van. It's actually kind of similar to a lot of those other cars we did that are minis. So it's gonna get wrecked up probably pretty bad. This is just tiny. It doesn't, I mean, well, I could put it side by side if I the other one, but just trust me, dude, this thing's small. Alright, go ahead and slow-mo it. Uh-oh. Let's turn it just a bit. We don't want to turn too tight. I don't like that, no. I don't like the angle it was coming at. It was just a little crooked, you know? And if we're doing a science-y test, we want it to be as good as we can. Only takes a couple seconds to do it again, you know? Better redo it for a couple seconds, saving time, you know? It's not worth it. It's already been like a 40-minute video. What more is a couple of seconds, you know? That's better. Yeah, that one's coming in straighter. I recovered it better, you know? So it's coming in straight even though it was kind of crooked at the start. Alright, let up on the throttle, just about 70. Alright, there we go. Go and enhance a bit so you can see what's happening. Doesn't look like I held up much worse than the normal van, actually. Whoa, except for that, I accidentally put full speed instead of slow-mo there. That's not good. We'll just go ahead and look at the inside. I think it's actually held up pretty much the same as the normal van because it's, front-wise, I think it's identical. I think it's just the back end is smaller. So yeah, this looks like it's about the same. Let's go ahead and take the doors off, see if we can see if the pedals are the same. Yeah, it's the same. I'm just going to say that's pretty much the same. I knew it was a different vehicle, kind of, but I wasn't sure. See, that's why I wanted to avoid cars that were pretty much the same thing. That's one of them. That's basically the same thing. But I wasn't sure if that one was, so I figured I'd do it anyways. What's the harm in doing it if you're not sure? So that is the crash test for all of the truck, van, SUVs. For the front only. We're going to do a side collision too, and then we're also going to do ones for cars, ones for race cars. I mean, I got a lot of things I could do with this, truthfully. It's just a matter of hopefully you guys like this, because it was one of those things that somebody said, and I thought, that'd be an interesting thing to do. But it is kind of long, you know? That's one unfortunate thing. Like I said, you know, I might do a couple more, but if you guys don't like them, I might drop the series. Who knows? Hopefully you do like it though. I thought it'd be interesting, you know. Anyways, that'll do it for this first video. Until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see you next time.